With the release of 1.4 in Genshin Impact, we have yet another event with a lot of content to enjoy. This time we're talking about the Windblown Festival. We recently covered the Hangout events in our Impressions article, but today we're diving into the real content of version 1.4. This will highlight all 4 activities in the Windblown Festival: the rhythm game, shooting gallery, domain with random challenges, and a freefall game.
もし本当だったら地図が書いてあるぞ。城の外みたいだな。
First, let's talk about the rhythm game, which can be attempted at any time in the main menu. Select the event, then your song and difficulty, and almost immediately the countdown for the song begins. It is very similar to your typical rhythm game. When circles overlap, you press the button or the correct key and tap the circle if you're on mobile. The number of notes increases as you crank up difficulty, and the more notes you manage to press in a row without messing up, your score will increase. Simple enough premise. The rhythm offering was a nice touch, but I feel like the note spacing could be an issue for those used to rhythm games' fast pace in later difficulties. The note speed in some parts might not be too slow, or sometimes the slower speeds speed up, which threw me off a few times. Next up is the shooting gallery minigame, Bullseye Balloon. To play this, you must look for a balloon icon on the world map and then interact with the signboard located there. I highly recommend you clear out any enemies before attempting though, as they won't despawn for the challenge. As is with the bows in general, aiming with a controller in Genshin Impact doesn't really feel natural. While it might be possible, it's definitely a challenge to properly aim at the balloons before they vanish and move on to the next wave. I usually played with the controller, but I could only get a high score when I switched over to the keyboard and mouse. Flora Freefall has players jump from a platform and slowly guide down, collecting items, which convert into points. It's possible to earn bonus points if you successfully manage to land in the flower garden on the ground. The game is pretty simple and there's not really much to it. In fact, it's rather similar to the gliding challenges we've seen before in version 1.2, except this time the focus is to get as many items as possible and land in the garland located in the ground for bonus points instead of going from point A to point B within a time limit. Lastly, let's look at Peculiar Wonderland, which feels very familiar. Here you'll play 3 challenges selected at random, and then you'll be tasked to defeat a powerful boss, which changes throughout the event. If you accumulated enough special points, your characters will get a buff to assist you in the fights. The minigames are really simple and quite easy to understand. They remind me of party games similar to Mario Party. My favorite would be the no falling game, probably because gliding is such a smooth experience in Genshin Impact. On the other hand, my least favorite would be the Barrage Minute, as it gets pretty hectic and frustrating not to get hit. You can also tackle Peculiar Wonderland with friends or with random players via the co-op feature. The game recommends you do the co-op because the bosses can get quite tough to beat even with high level characters. It took 3 minutes for me to beat the boss on my own, whereas with friends, my time was shaved to at least a minute and a half. There's also festival anecdotes to experience. Players can interact with most of Mondstadt's characters and NPCs, such as Venti, Barbara, Rosaria, etc. Just like the Lantern Rite quests from 1.3, we have a lot of NPC related quests here. From collecting materials to even mixing a strange beverage. These quests will reward you with primogems for all your hard work, and you'll also get to learn a bit about the Windblown Festival's lore. However, unlike the Lantern Rite, the quests weren't as irritating to complete. They were all pretty straightforward, which was appreciated when compared to the amount of warping you had to do in the previous event. Genshin Impact version 1.4 introduces new ways to interact with the game and spend time in the world. However, for the most part, there's very little to do here that feels like you are progressing a real narrative since you are spending your time in minigames or focusing on hangout events. It's essentially fluff as we await new areas such as Dragonspine from version 1.2. Noisy Pixel is giving Genshin Impact version 1.4 a 7.5 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Please read the full review at noisypixel.net. Noisy Pixel is run by a group of gamers who work hard to deliver news, reviews, previews, and more. Please subscribe to keep up with all our future content.